Hello and welcome back to the AOR Championship on Xbox using F1 2016. We're at the Red Bull Ring in Austria for the 7th round of this 13th season. My name is Justin, and returning to the commentary box, it's AliK.
I am indeed, and today it is the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. Not one of my most favourite tracks on the calendar, 8 or 9 corners depending on whichever way you look at it, but plenty of overtaking opportunities, so I'm sure it'll throw up a pretty interesting race. Season 12 podium, unsurprisingly, was the Flying Finn who took the win, but then AOR Reversal and TRL Limitless a long way up the order in P2 and 3. I'm sure those two will be looking for very similar results today to really kickstart their season.
Yeah, last time out, it was the Mercedes of Cupid who took pole position in Canada, but he could only manage 3rd on the podium, leaving the other Mercedes and Season 12 champion, the Flying Finn, to pick up the win, with the Williams of VBR Strees completing the rostrum in the championship. Finn now commands a 50-point lead over TRL Martin, who must now turn his attention toward Cupid, who is just 1 point behind the Red Bull. And Strees moved up to 4th in the points thanks to his achievements in Canada, but is a shocking 82 points behind the Flying Finn. That's how the championship is shaping up, but let's turn our focus now toward the Austrian Grand Prix, starting with the side-by-side lap comparison and full qualifying report.
Here we are at Austria today for a qualifying comparison between ESR Surprize and Killer Whale 48. So coming up towards turn 1 now, they're going to be looking to brake just after the 100 meter board. Surprize is very aggressive on the downshifts, and Killer Whale even going down to 2nd gear to get a bit extra turn in there. And both getting a nice exit out of turn 1 and coming up the hill towards turn 2, again braking late uphill this time. And on the apex here, you can see Surprize is ever so slightly ahead of Killer Whale. Although Killer Whale looks like he's had a bit of a later apex there, and that could get him a better exit down towards turn 3 here. They've opened up the DRS and again looking for that 100 meter board. Braking there, both down to 2nd gear and short shifting up on the exit to 4th gear. And now through these high speed corners in the middle sector here, throwing it in to the left hander. Both drivers in 4th. Killer Whale shifting down to 3rd gear there. And again at that split, Surprize is ever so slightly ahead. And late apex in this corner here, coming up towards the last sector now on the penultimate corners. Again, very high speed corners where you just chuck it in and hope it sticks. And here we go, both drivers 5th gear, and then at one final corner, trying not to run wide onto that AstroTurf. Surprize gets it perfect there on the exit. And there you go, that's the difference, just over 200ths of a second between Surprize and Killer Whale there.
So, taking a look at the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix, and it was a familiar face but a new name on pole position as ESR Lee, formerly known as TSR Cupid, took pole position. Lining up in 2nd place we have ESR Surprize, formerly known as Surprise Me, with an unbelievable qualifying performance, putting his Sauber up to 2nd on the grid, splitting the 2 Mercedes cars, which is an absolutely incredible lap from him. The Flying Finn, the championship leader of 50 points, will line up in 3rd, ahead of STS F1 Alonso in 4th, with Killer Whale in 5th, just ahead of the Williams of ESR Strees. Cyril Hamilton will line up in 7th, with Danny M7 in 8th, and AOR Ryan and RS Falcon, the highest runner on the super soft tyres, will round out the top 10. AOR Reversal lines up in P11, with ESR Ryan, formerly known as CR63, lining up in P12, higher than TRL Martin and TRL Limitless, who were both qualifying on the super soft tyres. The second runner of Jason97 F1 is in 15th, also on the super softs, with Franglish, 6 Skills and ESR LuckyDog in 18th. WCR Kubica and Burnout F1 will round out the grid, with TR Williams and Stu unable to make the start. It is now time for the Austrian Grand Prix.
Welcome to the beautiful Red Bull Ring in Austria. We've got 20 drivers making their way to the grid around this 8 or 9 corner circuit, depending on who you ask. We've got clear skies and a 0% chance of rain, and ESR Lee, formerly known as Cupid, is on pole position once again, although last time out, Ali, he struggled to convert that pole into the win.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do today, starting on the ultra soft tyres, which would probably mean that he is likely on a 2-stop strategy. You can only really 1-stop if you start on the super softs and then go to a set of softs at the end. But Austria, as we mentioned, 8 or 9 corners, 2 DRS zones, plenty of overtaking opportunities, a pretty high speed track, so I'm sure we'll see a pretty good race and some pretty mixed up strategies, with a big advantage to be gained from starting outside the top 10. And RS Falcon actually starting 10th on the super soft tyres. He could be a big threat later on in the race. And yeah, as you mentioned, Cupid, he's on pole. He's got a big gap to make up in the championship to his teammate. I mean, it's 51 points, I believe. So if he wants to get close to his teammate in the championship, he has to win today, really.
Yeah, and he's going to be looking for other drivers to hopefully take some points off his teammate. I know those guys certainly want to take home the team's championship, but of course they want to beat each other more than anything else. Quite a bit different versus traditional Formula One, where the team maybe comes first and then the driver second. No, this is pretty much all about the drivers. And yeah, those guys are definitely going to be looking to either close in that gap or extend that gap, just depending on which of the Mercedes drivers you ask. But they are finishing up, getting to the grid now. AOR Raikkonen in 9th position. Jason97 F1 just behind his teammate. The two Renaults really struggling in qualifying. And also the championship contender, TRL Martin, way down in 13th position. The lights are starting to come on now. We're on board with Surprise. Now switching over to the Season 12 champion, the Flying Finn, as the lights go out. And it looks like a decent start for Finn. Not so much for Surprise. He is going to have the inside line for turn number 1, but it looks like the Flying Finn with a better start by comparison to the Sauber. He's going to go around the outside as well at turn 1. Light contact between Alonso and Strees as they come out of turn 1 as well. Killer Whale getting a good run out of that first corner. Looks like he might pressurize, but he's going to have to go around the outside at turn 2 here. Let's see if he can. Strees is holding that inside line, getting very late onto the brakes. I think some contact with the McLaren, however, in the Flying Finn with some struggles too. He's going to go side by side with Surprise Me down to turn number 3, but it looks like he's just about got him. And yes, the Flying Finn taking that second place position. STS F1 Alonso in 4th position. RS Falcon trying to hold off. Oh, AOR Reversal. Oh, and there's Jason97 F1. He's gone for a spin, it looks like, at turn 3. That's going to drop him down to stone dead last. So it has not been a fantastic start for him. And I believe this is Martin that we're on board with. If I remember correctly, Reversal is showing his HUD again, thankfully. So that was Martin, I believe. Yeah, I'm getting confirmation that is Martin, and he has lost positions, actually, down from 13th where he started. On board with AOR Raikkonen, he's got a great view of Danny M7 and CRL Hamilton as they're doing battle to finish up the first lap. But here, Ali, Surprise Me's not done just yet. The Flying Finn hasn't exactly broken away, so that battle may not be over yet.
Yeah, the Sauber driver doing an awesome job in Qualy to split the two Mercs, but now we've got AOR Reversal under pressure from RS Falcon. Reversal starting on the fresher tyres, having not done Qualy on that set of super softs. The Street is down the inside of Alonso, and this is on board with Killer Whale. He's just taking a watching brief at the moment as Alonso gets hung out to dry on the exit of turn 2. They're going to be side by side down into turn 3, and I think that's Danny now making a move on AOR Raikkonen, and now we're back with Killer Whale down the outside of STS F1 Alonso. Can he make this one stick? Not quite, and Killer Whale has to settle for P6, but it's actually been a very clean start. I think the only casualty we've had so far is Jason97 F1. Yeah. Martin not moving up many positions. I believe he had some kind of connection issues at the start, and he is just behind Limitless, both of whom I believe are on these soft compound tyres. So now again we have Alonso versus Killer Whale. The penultimate corner, however, is not an overtaking opportunity whatsoever. But look at this, Surprise Me, or ESR Surprize he is now known, is all over the back of the reigning champion. Who'd have called this one coming into the race? The Sauber driver is putting the Mercedes under all kinds of pressure as a Ferrari is round. I'm not sure who that is.
Burnout, that's Burnout.
Yeah, Burnout is in all kinds of trouble at the moment, but yeah, it's been a very clean start, which is something which is good to see after we've had a couple of instances in the past, but yeah, a good race in store, I think, after this start.
Yeah, I think we've seen some spins. We've seen a little bit of wheel banging, but we haven't really seen any carbon fiber going flying or anything like that. ESR LuckyDog up the inside of Kubica, it looks like, at turn 2, and it looks like he's actually going to get that move done. The Force India just grabbing that slipstream on the run down the hill towards turn number 3. He's going to try and pressure around the outside. Yeah, he's very late on the brakes on those super soft tires with LuckyDog on the softs. So they're going to be side-by-side at the exit of the corner into turn 4 or 5, depending on who you ask. And Kubica with the inside line actually getting that move done. And I think that was to retake that position. I think we came in kind of late into that battle. But Surprise Me still onto... He's surprising everybody, I think, today. In particular, the Flying Finn as they come to the end of lap number 3. DRS activated already, so of course he's going to get... Oh, and that is a very early 3-second time penalty warning for ESR Ryan, who is formerly CR63. RS Falcon very late onto the brakes, closing up very much so into the gearbox of AOR Reversal. I think Reversal maybe even felt that It looked like he had a bit of wheel spin coming out of the corner. Falcon is going to get a much better exit out of that corner. It's going to give him a run into turn number 2. He's going to have to do it around the outside, though, as TRL Martin still stuck. He's just constantly stuck with TRL Limitless, but unfortunately these guys aren't even battling for a points-paying position. They can see the final points-paying position right here, just ahead of them, is Limitless moving over to the left-hand side of the circuit, trying to avoid contact with the back of AOR Reversal, but nearly hitting TRL Martin. Good awareness from TRL Limitless there, and also from Martin, actually. Both of those guys doing well not to make contact into turn 3 there. Reversal still all over the back of RS Falcon. There is a bit of a gap starting to form between 9th and 10th, as we can see that on the minimap right now. And oh, LuckyDog is really struggling right now. He's clearly got front wing damage, you can see on the left-hand side from that T-cam view. And we do get a message that the teammate is in the pits for Raikkonen, so the other Williams into the pits right now. He is going to pick up DRS here off of Danny M7 up ahead. Killer Whale going side by side with Cyril Hamilton into turn 1, and it looks like Hamilton is going to come out on top on that one. But now Danny M7 getting involved. We may see a 3-wide moment on the rundown towards turn 2. Cyril Hamilton, I think, just about has it. Danny M7 looking like he's trying to position for a late lunge, but no, I think he's actually just going to make the move on his teammate Killer Whale. Slight contact between the Haas drivers there. That could provide an opportunity for AOR Raikkonen, who does pick up the DRS, and Danny M7 likewise getting the DRS on the rundown towards turn 3. Around the outside goes AOR Raikkonen on those Ultra Softs, and it looks like he can't quite make it. Slight contact, I think, between Limitless and Reversal. There is Martin now getting a good run, but no, I mean, you really, that's just turn 4, as you mentioned before about not overtaking corners. You were talking about 7, I think you were, Ali, but yeah, turns 4 and 5, really not good places to overtake, but Limitless might have a good shot here on Reversal. Yeah, Reversal struggling, and is actually going to lose 2 positions to Limitless and Martin, so not a great start for Limitless, Martin, or Reversal. I mean, those guys are still battling outside the top 10, but it looks like Jason97 F1, his fortunes have improved a little bit here, Ali.
That was a very nice move from Jason in that Renault. How many times have we said it this season that a Renault has been in the war? I believe Lee has pitted from the lead of the race, and that's promoted Finn into the lead now, and that is Surprise up into second as well. So where is Lee going to come out? A short track, so there's going to be a lot of traffic for people coming out of the pits, and I believe Lee came out just behind LuckyDog there. But this is now a fight for the lead. It is Finn versus ESR Surprize into turn 3. The Sauber is also late on the brakes. He's drifting through the corner of the Flying Finn, trying to get a cutback line. But it looks like the Sauber's got the move down. The Haas cars, it's all gone wrong. There's a Haas line 90 degrees across the track. Raikkonen moves up a position. ESR Ryan is up into the points. Reversal is into the points. Limitless is trying to go around the outside of RS Falcon. He's going to try and get a cutback line. Surely you can't make this one work on the soft tyres down the inside of the Manor. That is not an overtaking opportunity, says who? TRL Limitless proves us wrong again with another awesome overtake. He's now up into P6. We said a couple of laps ago he wasn't fighting for a points-paying position. He certainly is now, as a couple of guys are coming into the pits. The ultra soft tyres are already going off, and is really starting to kick off here as we're on to lap 6 of this race. And Jason is battling with, that is Lee now, who's just come out of the pits on those fresh soft tyres, and Finn's been held. Finn's been held in the pits. It's a 4.9 second pit stop, and that's really going to cost him in relation to his teammate, and possibly even the Sauber, who's had an even longer pit stop. Oh dear, it has all gone wrong for both the Mercedes and the Sauber pit crews. You don't normally talk about the Sauber pit crew in relation to the Mercedes pit crew, but this time we were, and they're both given equally slow stops to their respective drivers. But Martin now up into P3, and Surprise in all of that, unfortunately for him, has lost a bit to the Flying Finn for the lead of the race.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate. That was really a good opportunity for him, but yeah, I mean, that was just luck of the draw. Really nothing he could do about that one, as Strees makes a daring move up the inside of AOR Raikkonen. That back end just kicking out as he gets on the throttle coming out of turn 2. On board with AOR Reversal, currently sat in 4th position. He's on the Super Softs though, so I imagine he's going to have to pit sooner than his teammate TRL Martin, who is up ahead pestering who we're on board with now, which is the manor of RS Falcon. TRL Limitless now leads this race after starting on the soft compound tires. That would have been a fresh set of soft compound tires as well, of course, with the Renault driver starting outside of the top 10. TRL Martin, though, trying to see if he can get involved with that battle. He has lost out to Limitless, or Limitless managed to get by Falcon, and Martin trying to do the same thing. He's got a good run, no DRS on the run down towards turn 2, but he's picked up a very nice slipstream, and he's gonna have fresher tires by comparison to the Manor, who's on those Super Softs. So the Manor likely thinking about pitting pretty soon, although just saw a quick flick of his tire life, and it's looking pretty good, you have to say, for the Super Softs. So he could be potentially going for a one-stop. I imagine many of the Super Softs and soft compound runners are going to be going for a one-stop in order to just maximize their potential against those top 10 runners who started on the Ultra Softs. Aside from, it was RS Falcon. Yeah, RS Falcon was the guy who started on the Super Softs. But Franglish and ESR Ryan, again, ESR Ryan, formerly CR63. Oh, man, he goes a little bit wide there at the exit of turn 4. That's definitely going to lose him a little bit of time. Meanwhile, the other Sauber, after his pit stop onto the back of CRL Hamilton, that's a big old screen freeze for ESR Surprize, and that's going to lose him a couple of positions to both of the Williams cars, actually. Raikkonen and Stries both managing to go through, and he drops down to P18. That's got to be frustrating for the Sauber driver. The Flying Finn is also stuck behind traffic. He's got his former teammate just ahead. SDS F1 Alonso is going to pick up the DRS, similar to the Flying Finn, so it's not going to be easy for Finn to make the overtake here. Oh man, I spoke too soon. Makes a very late lunge on his former teammate, on that McLaren driver, and it looks like with the traction coming out of that corner, he's going to make that overtake stick. Here we go, TRL Martin versus TRL Limitless for the billionth time in this season, and indeed in the AOR history, but Martin's done it down the inside at turn number 3. He's going to temporarily take the lead of this race. Of course, all of these guys still yet to pit. ESR LuckyDog looks like he might get a little bit lucky on Burnout F1. We saw the Ferrari driver going for a spin earlier today, and the Flying Finn, unfortunately, stuck behind this battle. It's pretty difficult to make an overtake into these corners, but it's even more difficult when you have cars going side by side. But LuckyDog goes very wide. Flying Finn says thank you very much, goes up the inside. A nice opportunistic move from the Mercedes driver, who now slides in behind Burnout F1. Looks like Burnout F1 posturing to possibly go into the pits. SDS F1 Alonso gaining position. And yes, Burnout F1 is going to go into the pits. So the Ferrari driver coming in at the end of lap 9 for what appears to be his first stop. And yeah, let's see how it goes for him on board with the Ferrari driver. Gets it all slowed down very nicely. And of course, Ali, he gets the benefit of a nice clear pit lane.
Yeah, unlike what happened to the Sauber and the Mercedes pit crew's reversal now down the inside of RS Falcon into turn 2. Falcon is also going to pick up the DRS though, and he carried more momentum around the outside, and it looks like he's got the straight line speed to pull ahead into turn 3. Reversal will have the inside though. He's much later on the brakes as well. You can see his teammate breaking away in the distance, but Reversal now battling with this Mana car. They're still going to be going side by side. Reversal with the outside line. Falcon still hugging the inside. Surely they can't go side by side through here. There's a bit of contact between the two of them, and they are still going side by side. And Reversal, surely he's got to concede here. He's not going to. He's into the gravel. It's all gone wrong for AOR Reversal. He's in the gravel. He has lost a whole heap of time. He's going to get passed by Franglish here as Falcon is coming into the pits. And is Reversal going to follow him in? No, he's not. So Reversal stays out. Falcon, I believe, can make it to the end on a set of softs from here as he takes a very fast line into the pit lane. But Reversal, he's got to recover from that incident. Getting past Franglish now, who's on the soft tyres. So Reversal should, in theory, be a bit quicker at this stage of the race. Although his super soft tyres will be starting to go off quite a lot at this stage. The pit window for a one stop, if you're doing super soft, is any time from lap 10 onwards, really. So AOR Reversal now defending into turn 2. Franglish very late on the brakes, and Reversal has actually got very good tyre wear looking at that. And now Flying Finn down the inside of Jason, trying to pick out his braking without a braking board on the outside, which is probably the one that the drivers will use the most into turn 2. And Raikkonen is able to move up into P13. I believe he is now ahead of the Sauber of Surprize as well because of that screen freeze that the Sauber driver had. He just cannot get any luck in this race after such a strong qualifying and appearing to have so much pace, keeping with the Mercedes boys. Here he is now. He's a long old way back from the Flying Finn, battling with the second Williams of ESR Stries now, but you can just see the amount of time that Surprize has lost to the Flying Finn, and that must be so gutting for the Sauber driver. He was in contention legitimately for the lead of the race, and unfortunately for him, it just hasn't gone quite right, Justin.
Yeah, and he's stuck behind Stries, who actually was the first person to stop on lap 4 for that set of softs. So they're not absolutely destroyed, but they're going to be healthy enough for him to hold him up. But Reversal coming under attack from Franglish. ESR Lee as well in the background there. Again, ESR Lee is Cupid, who took pole position and 3rd place in Canada. And AOR Reversal appears to be driving just based on the proximity arrows, as he could see Franglish just moving up the inside. And the Flying Finn is stuck behind a gaggle of cars. That's the immediate word that comes to mind, is just a gaggle. And AOR Reversal still having to defend from Franglish. Franglish goes around the outside. A lovely move from the Manor driver. Reversal just having to put up with all of the Manors, and Lee is just going to follow through. Oh, Franglish's braking really puts Reversal out there, and that's going to really ruin his line. ESR Surprize does look like he's finally going to make his way past Strees. Again, Surprize with much healthier tires by comparison to Strees, so he's going to make good use of that. The Flying Finn doesn't even really need to wait for a corner to make an overtake. That's pretty incredible. He could do that at the exit of a corner, but he sure does. He moves up into 7th position, slots in behind WCR Kubica as they come to the end of lap number 12. He is going to pick up the DRS. You could see just the slipstream and the DRS benefit that he gets on the rundown towards turn 1, and easy peasy as you like. Gets onto the brakes for turn 1, up into P6, and with clear air finally for the first time for the Flying Finn. ESR Lee on the inside of Franglish into turn number 2, and it looks like he's just about going to get it. Franglish with better traction coming out of there, and it looks like Reversal just sort of playing it safe. Surprise me, has LuckyDog for company on his right-hand side. Oh, you can see he's trying to get defensive, changing his line a little bit under braking for turn 2 there. It looks like light contact may have happened in the background there as well. But again, Reversal, who we're on board with, oh yes, he's going to be coming in at the end of this lap. So Reversal possibly looking at a 23-lap stint on the softs is what it's looking like to me, Ali.
Yeah, that would probably be the most likely strategy for him at this point, as Raikkonen is again behind a gaggle of cars, probably the same gaggle of cars that the Flying Finn approached a couple of laps ago. But Hamilton makes a move on ESR Ryan, and Raikkonen is trying to follow him around the outside. It looks like there's a car coming into the pits as well in front, and that is AOR Reversal, who is entering the pits with 70% tyre wear. What is going on here? All manner of cars are all over the place as Six Skills is going defensive into the final corner. He's been passed by Hamilton. He's going to get passed by Raikkonen as well. A little bit of lag to spice it up, and it is all kicking off at this stage. Hamilton round the outside at turn 1. Raikkonen very late on the brakes into turn 1. And has he made that stick? He has indeed. Wow. Raikkonen on the super softs. He will be making another stop before the end of this race. And it's worth noting that Limitless and Martin will probably only be making one more stop before the end of this race. So they are definitely in contention here, as Raikkonen is able to defend just about with a huge kick of oversteer on the exit of turn 2, and he's up into P7. Another slow Sauber stop. That was 9 seconds for ESR Ryan. I imagine a front wing change may have been involved there, as Falcon is now on the back of ESR Surprize. Falcon around the outside at turn 3. Can you make that one stick? He's taking a very wide line. He's insanely late on the brakes. Surely they're not going to go side by side through here again. The Sauber and the Man are going side by side, and Surprize has carried that amazingly around the outside. What a move. He's showing all kinds of class in this race. He's not lost his head despite losing a lot of time early on, and now we've got a replay of the start. This is what happened to Jason. If you remember, he was backwards and spun early on, and he's taking a bit of an adventure off the track as we go in the entry to turn 2. He's losing a couple of positions there, and then I imagine he spins into turn 3. He goes for an audacious move on Franglish. I don't think he intended to do that. I imagine he just missed his braking point.
Avoiding action.
And just missed his braking point, ended up driving into the side of the Manor even. So I don't think anyone's at fault for that as Reversal. That's an unorthodox line into turn 2, and that is why the 100-meter board is no longer. And then this is Surprise, and that's an interesting line from the Force India into the pits there, if you saw that one. And then the Williams has got, Strees has gone into the back of the Sauber. So Strees, despite having such a good race in Canada, has blown up on the back of the Sauber here, and there's another angle of that one on board with RS Falcon, and it is in the wall for ESR Street. So different to how it played out in Canada. And this is Surprise. Oh no, as I said, he kept his head. I have absolutely commentators cursed him as he steams into the back of Six Skills. But yeah, what an eventful start to this race, and I cannot see the second half being any less eventful than that.
I mean, that was one of the most incredible sequence of replays that I've ever seen in AOR history. Surprise is looks like he's gonna grab that position off of Six Skills. Unfortunately for him, breaking that front left end plate. Oh, and that's a 3-second penalty for Falcon. Yep, I had seen him definitely make a couple of mistakes, so that's gonna be him on the back foot. Not even at halfway distance are we at this point. Man, he's gotten an almighty run out of turn 1, though. He's gonna have to go around the outside of Surprise. Looks like Surprise just about has him covered him off, but Falcon, with great traction coming out of that second corner, is going to be side by side with him still, and that actually pulls ahead into the braking zone for turn 3. Falcon back ahead of Surprize. Ooh, if he wants to keep the rest of his wing, he's going to have to be careful with that one. AOR Reversal down into 13th position after his stop on lap 13. So he just recently made a stop. As we mentioned, it looks like he's going to one stop. Oh, and ESR Surprize has unfortunately made a huge mistake, and that may be down to the damaged front wing, but glad he didn't take anybody off with him. He's doing well to stay off the racing line there, not to hinder anybody else's race. The Flying Finn, incredibly, in 5th position and losing that 5th place position to his former teammate, SDS F1 Alonso, one-time Williams teammate in Season 12, not doing him any favors here in Austria as they start lap number 17, and the Flying Finn his game's seeming kind of choppy. I don't know if he's got anything going on, but it looks like Strees is out of the session. That's unfortunate for him. I hope nothing too serious has gone on there. AOR Reversal, though, as I mentioned, after that stop just a few laps ago, he's going to be on very fresh soft compound tires, but the cars ahead also on fresh compound tires, fresh softs. Let me see when Killer Whale, actually no, Killer Whale hasn't stopped yet. And I don't think LuckyDog has either. Ooh, Killer Whale around the outside, down the hill into turn 3. LuckyDog loses that final points-paying position, and it looks like AOR Reversal is seeming very feisty on the sister teammate in the Toro Rosso. And LuckyDog defending the inside line into turn number 4. He's getting pretty aggressive with holding that position. Oh, and he goes very, very wide into turn 5, and AOR Reversal just takes that easy as you like. No problems for the Red Bull driver as he moves up one position. Back on board with the Season 12 champion as SDS F1 Alonso has closed up on Franglish now. So this is now a 3-way fight. Pretty good size gap back to AOR Raikkonen in 7th position as, wow, Alonso with the slipstream grabs the inside line into turn 2 on Franglish, moves ahead. Wow, pretty straightforward move for the former Williams driver. The Flying Finn is going to pick up DRS, and it does appear to have the speed advantage over Franglish. So, wow, the Manor driver losing 2 positions in the space of 2 corners. So that's unfortunate for him, but Alonso and Finn both up into the top 5. It looks like Franglish is having all manner of difficulties in the background there. Jason97 F1 clearly having a race to forget. It's not been going great for him. He came in on lap 11 for that set of softs, so those are about 6.5 laps old at the moment, and he grabs a fairly easy position. Oh, Killer Whale braking on the grass. If my eyes don't deceive me there, Ali, I think he dipped a wheel in the grass that completely destroyed his line, and AOR Reversal is just going to take advantage. No, he's still there, actually. They're still side by side, coming out of turn 5, out of turn 6, side by side on the rundown towards turn 7, a very high-speed corner, and Killer Whale backs out of it. Reversal up into the points, and we presume with no more stops to make.
Yeah, it's looking very good for Reversal at this stage. He's still under attack from this Haas car, though, despite probably still having grass on his tyres. He's going to try and go down the inside into turn 1. Reversal's very late on the brakes, and this time manages to defend from the Haas car. And there's a bit of brotherly love going on between these two. Alonso and Finn are going at it, well, attacking each other quite a lot at this stage. Just Finn down the inside into turn 3, and it looks like he's managed to get this one done fairly easy. I think he let his teammate through it, or not his teammate, his former teammate through it, is what it seemed like. He was going very slowly into turn 1, but Reversal now up into P9, and he's going to be in a very good position because let's not forget, at the moment it is still Limitless and Martin who are out front in this race on that set of soft tyres, and Reversal's going to have a considerable undercut on both of those two cars, so potentially he could be a threat later on in this race. We'll have to wait and see, but this is Jason getting past LuckyDog, and then this is RS Falcon with only 26% wear on that set of soft tyres. They are holding up very nicely for him as Raikkonen is into the pits. This could get a bit dangerous. The pit lane entry in general is pretty dangerous, having to slow to a halt almost in the middle of a high-speed corner is not the most intelligent design, as Raikkonen gets very close to the wall on the entry to the pits. Let's see if this pit crew is awake as he comes into the Williams garage, and it's a fairly quick stop from the Williams crew, 2.2 second stop, and he's onto a set of soft tyres which should comfortably, very comfortably in fact, take him to the end of this race. And then this is on board with the man who was looking so impressive early on, and I think that MFD on the bottom right hand corner just tells the story of his race. Some destroyed tyres with a half destroyed front wing. It's all gone wrong for ESR Surprize so far today, despite such a good start, such a good qualifying, and such good pace showed throughout. It looked like it kind of got to his head a little bit, maybe a little bit of inexperience, and that's something that will possibly come with a few more races and maybe a few more seasons in the future. As this is Burnout, oh no, it's all gone wrong, into the gravel, and Burnout continues his adventures for the day We saw him off doing donuts or something at the final corner earlier, and he's had another escapade off the track. And then this is Strees with, that's a big problem for Strees. And that is him now lacking a front right wheel, I believe. That seemed very, very strange. He was almost halfway down the straight when he lost that. That seemed a totally bizarre instant. And then this is Jason, who's recovered up into the points. You've got to give this man a lot of credit for this drive. He is working his way back through the field, and Jason using all of his experience so far. But I'm not sure how the strategies are working out so far in this race. This is Falcon, who's behind Lee, who's pitted for the final time. He's on another set of soft tyres, is he? And Falcon, is he going to have a run into turn 2? Lee's not going to defend the inside, is he? There's a little bit of lag going on here, and Falcon quite sensibly sticks behind the Mercedes car, who is on much fresher tyres, who has made his final stop now. And it looks like, Justin, unless anything surprising happens, Lee is going to win this race.
Yep, yeah, and I mean, considering he was the pole sitter, you would imagine, yeah, he's just going to be pulling away after coming in and putting on those fresh set of tires. But SDS F1 Alonso hanging in there with his former teammate. He was maybe a bit outshined last year by the Flying Finn, which is understandable. I mean, it was a fairly dominant win, championship win that is, in Season 12 from his one-time teammate. But SDS F1 Alonso, a talented driver in his own right. He does come into the pits at the end of lap 22. RS Falcon looking like he's getting some more warnings is what that looked like to me, but he's going to continue on for another lap. Pretty good tire wear going on for him. He is going to gain a position as well, actually up into 5th now. On board with TRL Martin. Oh, and those tires are looking mighty worn, so I think the Red Bull driver is going to be coming into the pits at the end of lap 23, so he's going to be doing the exact opposite strategy of Reversal. Reversal doing 13 and then 23, and it looks like Martin is going to do 23 then 13. Back on board with Burnout F1, who again we've mentioned has been having a difficult race to say the least. Does manage to grab a position off of LuckyDog though, on the run down towards turn 7, not normally an overtaking location there, and Martin is indeed into the pits. I think we all saw that coming once we saw that tire wear. TRL Limitless is going to follow him in as well. Again, as ever, those two completely inseparable. The Flying Finn as well is into the pits for the Mercedes team. Oh, and that's not a great stop for TRL Martin. He's definitely lost some time. 2.6 second stop for Limitless as SF1 Alonso grabbing the position off of Jason. Let's see where TRL Martin is going to feed out. He's got a car on his left-hand side as he feeds out of the pits. Who is that? That is Lee, who retakes the lead of this race. Martin now up into 2nd position. TRL Limitless incredibly up into 4th in this race with a fresh set of tires. Oh no, and that is not good. SDS F1 Alonso and Jason 97 F1 getting locked together. Fair play though from Jason 97 F1. He's going to let Alonso back through. He is going to accept blame for that one. The Flying Finn on those brand new super soft tires is of course going to be very quick, but the question is he going to be quick enough to not only catch but also overtake Lee and Martin? RS Falcon is going to lose a position relatively quickly to TRL Limitless, who moves himself up into a podium position incredibly. AOR Raikkonen putting the pressure onto Cyril Hamilton down the hill into turn number 3, side-by-side inside line for Raikkonen. Looks like it's going to be a straightforward one for him. Hamilton possibly going to come back at him, but he's just going to park it on the right-hand side there. Really nowhere for the McLaren to go, and Raikkonen takes P12. Unfortunately, no points earned for that overtake, but on board with Martin as he is picking up the DRS and the slipstream off of the pole man. ESR Lee into turn number 1, start of lap number 25 here. So we've got 12 laps remaining in this race. Decent sized gap from 2nd down to 3rd, but oh gosh, look at the almighty run that TRL Martin has picked up on the pole man. He's going to go down the inside as well, and with those super soft tires makes quick work of the Mercedes, grabs the lead of this race, picks up the DRS as well just to give him that little extra boost. And as they enter the Sector 2 now, of course, Ali, those super softs are just going to be that much faster. It's less about aero for corners like turn 3 there than it is about the tire compound. And with these super softs, I imagine TRL Martin is going to be pulling away at this point.
He probably will be, considering he's on freshest tyres and a softer compound of tyres. We may have cursed Lee slightly when we said he was looking on course to win this race. He is now in 2nd place, but Martin, he's only had those tyres on for a lap or so, I believe. He's already on 8 or 9% wear, which is pretty bad at this stage. And then this is the Flying Finn overtaking the Killer Whale, who is very generous and I believe coming into the pits, taking that line. And Martin sets the fastest lap of the race out front. He is now looking in the box seat really to win this race. He's driving away from ESR Lee behind him, and Martin and Lee actually as well could both be taking points off the Flying Finn, as Killer Whale has a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. When was the last time we saw that? A little while ago, I think.
Yeah.
As STS F1 Alonso now, that was the replay of what happened with Jason. That came out of nowhere, the Renault on the inside. I think Jason, again, another case of him missing his braking point. And here we see an onboard view with him. Yeah, that's not an intentional move. And he cuts the corner to try and avoid the McLaren and ends up just T-boning the McLaren. So quite rightly, quite sensibly lets him through. So full credit to Jason for kind of sporting behaviour there. And this is the Flying Finn on the back of Reversal, who is trying to put up some opposition, but those soft tyres look like they are crying enough at this stage, as Finn trying to go around the outside at turn 3 in rich mix with the DRS, with the better tyres. Reversal trying to be as late on the brakes as possible, possibly trying to help out his teammate here, because Martin is out in the lead and Finn could possibly be challenging him with, well, if he shows a lot of pace in the rest of this race. But he's now on the back of RS Falcon, who again is being very, very generous. The Flying Finn seems to have the support of the whole field there. It's just parting like the Red Sea, everybody letting him through. And this is ESR Lee. He is sticking with TRL Martin, and it looks like, again, we're going to have a Mercedes versus a Red Bull into turn 2. Lee getting oh so close to the back of that Red Bull. That was a very hairy moment, but it looks like for once again this season, it is a Red Bull versus a Mercedes for the lead in this race. And this could get very, very spicy.
Yeah, spicy indeed. And of course, as the race goes on, that super soft benefit that Martin has is going to start to dwindle away. So he really needs to be pulling away right now more than anything else. Jason97 F1 currently in 8th position, has Franglish just behind, picking up the slipstream and the DRS, but not able to get close enough on the run down the hill towards turn 3. Bit of wheel spin for Jason. I thought maybe it was contact, but actually Franglish is going to shoot it up the inside at turn 4 and easily grabs that P8 off of Jason97. Again, though, Jason, I wasn't so sure, at least me personally, I don't want to speak for you, Ali, but I wasn't expecting him to necessarily even be in the points, as we're going to get some fantastic off-board camera shots as our leader, TRL Martin, starting lap number 29 with ESR Lee just behind him. Again, ESR Lee is formerly known as Cupid. Poleman in Canada, Poleman in Austria, goes up the inside, but no, goes very, very deep. A for effort, but no, I'm sorry, that's not going to work out for Lee. TRL Martin continues his lead, and actually that gap has actually grown as a result of that. Burnout F1, who we all know has had a difficult race, is into the pits at the end of lap number 28, and he's in for a wing change and also a set of Ultra Softs, and I do believe that is going to drop him down to stone dead last. Oh, God! Big impact there between CRL Hamilton and Killer Whale. We have a rear right puncture for Killer Whale, and CRL Hamilton is going to have to continue on. He can't wait around for somebody that has a punctured tire. Oh, Killer Whale moving across the racing line. Hamilton is now stopped in the middle of the circuit. Just, oh gosh, all sorts of carnage at the start of lap number 29. Here's a replay on board with Burnout F1 on lap 27. Oh, gets a big oversteer moment at the final corner. That's going to allow Raikkonen to go through. It looks like this is the replay of the incident we just saw. Killer Whale in the slipstream of CRL Hamilton is going to look, yeah, just a very strange move there from CRL Hamilton. Just slams Killer Whale into the wall at high speed down the start-finish straight. And that is definitely a strange one as we skip ahead to lap 33 now. Kubica coming under attack from the Sauber into turn 1, or was he making the overtake on the Sauber into turn 1? It's only for P11 though. Unfortunately for those two, not a battle for points, and it is ESR Ryan, formerly CR63, who is going to fight back against the Force India up the inside. And it looks like he is going to take that position back just about. The Force India coming back at him. Doesn't have the DRS, but does pick up the slipstream. The Sauber posturing in the middle of the circuit to defend, but it looks like he's going to have that position fairly easily through turn 3. And we turn our attention back towards the front, and TRL Martin has not managed to break away. And I have to imagine, Ali, that these super softs are really hurting at this stage. Yeah,
they will be really starting to go off. He's having to go defensive into turn 2. That's a very aggressive weave from Lee into the braking zone, and surely now he really is in the box seat to win this race. He is probably at this stage on the better tyres. Remember, the Mercedes was on the 2-stop compared to Martin on that 1-stop. So Lee now looking to the inside for turn 2. That is a lunge and a half. There's smoke everywhere. Martin hanging it beautifully around the outside. That is a masterclass in defensive driving from the Red Bull driver, just allowing the Mercedes to go down the inside. and carrying more speed around the outside, and Martin maintains the lead of this race, and it looks like this is going to be one hell of a scrap as we come into the final few laps of this race, as there was a huge amount of lag there. Right? There was some strange proximity arrow dancing on the screen, but we'll ignore that. And now he's still on the back of Tyrrell Martin as we start the penultimate lap of the race even. This is going to be one hell of a fight, Justin.
Yep, he's got the DRS. He's going to have the inside line as well. Tyrrell Martin not bothering to defend that too much, but actually couldn't get alongside, even with the benefit of the DRS. Martin continues to lead the race as they head out of turn 1. Long run down towards turn 2. Going to be an almighty slipstream for the Mercedes. Martin in the middle of the circuit, can't decide where he wants to go. Lee decides he wants to go up the inside. They do get it all slowed down for turn 2, where we have the missing 100-meter braking marker, and it looks like, I thought that was Lee up into the lead of the race, but actually great traction from Tyrrell Martin out of turn 2. He's going to fight back into turn 3. Lee with the inside line. Martin possibly going to try a cut back here, but no, it doesn't quite work like that at turn 3. The corner kind of opens up after that initial turn-in. Jason97 F1 battling for P8 against Franglish. Again, the Renault's starting well outside the top 10. Jason was in P15. Oh, and he has some troubles. He is right at that area where those tires may go pop. The Flying Finn has caught up to the one-stopping TRL Limitless, who is on the super soft tires. Remember, he stopped on lap 23, so these are now 12-lap-old super softs. The Flying Finn, I don't remember when he stopped. It was also on 23. Equal tire life for those two guys, and Lee has broken away as we start the final lap of this race. Limitless with the Mercedes behind him, though. Flying Finn pushing very hard to try and gain that final podium position. Can't quite get alongside the Renault on the run down towards turn 1. A fantastic drive from TRL Limitless, who has put up some of the best racing we've seen all season long. Flying Finn squeezes in on the right-hand side. This will give him the inside line for turn 2. Let's see if he can get it done. Into the corner they go, and braking, and it looks solid for the Flying Finn. Is he going to pick up the DRS here? Yes, he does. Oh, a bit of a wiggle, though, for the Mercedes driver. That's going to put him on the back foot. Limitless with the inside line. He doesn't have the DRS. Tucks back into the slipstream. Flying Finn grabs the inside line down the hill into turn number 3. Limitless got nothing for him, unfortunately. Those super softs are equally crying out on both the Mercedes and the Renault. Tense times for both of these guys as they head into turn 4. The Flying Finn turns it a little bit late. Slight contact and a big old slide for TRL Limitless, and that is going to be the end of that battle, but I don't think JD is going to lose any additional positions. TRL Martin is going to come home in second position ahead of the Flying Finn, crucially, but it is ESR Lee who finally converts that pole position into the win. Very well-deserved win for Lee, but fantastic drive from Martin for second place, and it is once again, it is 2 Mercedes drivers on the podium. TRL Limitless couldn't quite hang on to that third place. RS Falcon, a very well-deserved 5th place for him. STS F1 Alonso will cross the line in 6th position. Looks like he's already been demoted, possibly because of penalties. And the other manner, actually, of Franglish crossing the line in 8th. And yep, I mentioned that Jason's tires looked like they were going to go pop. And that is so unfortunate for the Renault driver, who was up into the points after a difficult qualifying. ESR Ryan, though, is actually going to claim the final points-paying position. At least he's going to cross the line in 10th place in Burnout F1. Oh, boy. It's definitely been a race to forget for Burnout F1. I'm sure you can sympathize with his struggles at Austria, Ali.
Yeah, he has had a nightmare of an afternoon at the Austrian Grand Prix, and Jason is another man who's had a bit of a nightmare of an Austrian Grand Prix, picking up that puncture that has really hurt him. He was running in the points after an awesome recovery drive, but look at that. At the start of the final lap, he's had to drive a whole lap with a puncture, which is going to be incredibly frustrating for the Renault driver. And this is Burnout, who's had some, well, should we just say an interesting Austrian Grand Prix, and that's a Renault on the inside. They're going to be going 3 wide momentarily, so Burnout had actually got up into P12, although it doesn't mean anything for points. And then we'll try not to laugh, but that is a misery compiler for Burnout F1 as he loses it out of the final corner. And there we go, the full race classification. It was Lee who took the win, from Tyrrell Martin in second place, both of whom actually had 3-second time penalties, with Finn and Limitless coming home in P3 and 4 respectively. With AOR Reversal in P5, that's a strong result for Reversal, and exactly what the Red Bull team would have wanted. They needed Reversal to start picking up the results, and that is what it looks like he is starting to do. So it's good to see Reversal back in the points. Then Falcon, Alonso, Franglish, AOR Raikkonen, and ESR Ryan scoring his first point of the season. Shout out to the Sauber driver We saw Surprize, the other Sauber, having a bit of a nightmare today, but Ryan picking up that solitary point for Sauber. I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with that one, Justin.
Yeah, unquestionably, yeah. And Surprize definitely going to probably be one of the more frustrated drivers after that race, after starting from the front row of the grid, out-qualifying the Flying Finn. And we all know, we all remember Season 12. We know how fast the Flying Finn is. And surprised me, or excuse me, I'm still used to his old name, ESR Surprize. It really showed everybody that he's got pace. I mean, he's been doing it all season long. And I think you mentioned before, you know, maybe just maturity, comfort level, that all comes into it. Meanwhile, ESR Lee actually is going to jump TRL Martin in the championship. He's just 41 points adrift of the Flying Finn. So what was previously a 50-point gap in the championship has been cut down to a measly 41 points. I'm sure the Flying Finn is so worried. ESR Streets holding on to 4th position ahead of Alonso. Limitless jumping up ahead of Falcon thanks to his 4th place finish. They're actually tie on points though. And Jason 97 F1 again with a difficult day today is going to drop down to 8th in the points. AOR Reversal picking up 10 points today, whereas in the previous 6 races only managing 4 points. So that is a good day for Reversal, and I think we were all kind of fans of Reversals last season, and it's good to see a return to form for him. Franglish as well had a great race today. He hasn't had the best of seasons. He does move up into 17th in the standings. In the Constructors' Championship, well, Mercedes pulled away once again with 1st and 3rd at this one, so bringing home 40 points for the Silver Arrows team. Red Bull, an incredible amount of points back. I believe that's 143 points back. Yep, so Red Bull, Renault, and Williams, I think if you combine them all, just about make Mercedes. But yeah, no movement after today's race, although Williams and McLaren currently tied on 60 points apiece, all of the teams scoring. So that is going to do it for today's race. Thank you so much, Ali, for joining us. We missed you at the Canadian Grand Prix, so it was great having you back.
Yeah, it was awesome to be back in the commentary box, and next week, the British Grand Prix, my home race, so I look forward to commentating on that one. Obviously, well, in my opinion, the greatest track on the Formula 1 calendar, second to Monaco maybe, but it's an absolutely awesome track, so yeah, I look forward to commentating there.
Yeah, Silverstone, I think, is a favorite amongst the drivers and the spectators and the commentators, so I think we're all excited for that one. So that is going to wrap it up for the 7th round of Season 13. Join us next time for Round 8 from Silverstone and the British Grand Prix. For Ali, Chris, and Fisi, this is Justin. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Yes! Woo! That was a race and a half.